Well, welcome back once again to Doc's Projects. Today is going to be a project of a car. Today I have a 2013 Kia Soul. Air conditioning is not any good on it, and it's mid-April in Phoenix, Arizona, so it's going to be getting hot pretty soon. Air conditioning is important. I'm going to be replacing the AC compressor, the expansion valve, and the filter that goes in the condenser. Appreciate it if you'd subscribe to my channel so I can do some more of these for you and teach you some more about some cars. I can do this. I saw a YouTube video. First off, I want to make sure that you have the safety. Make sure you got a couple of gloves working and some good eye goggles. I want to make sure you got a well-ventilated area. I've got a fan going, I've got the garage door open, I've got wind blowing through. But in this case, a little over a month ago when I was checking it out, both of them with the compressor engaging were reading at 50 pounds.
To remove this plastic piece that goes over the radiator, there's just several little plastic screws that you can pull up, and this removes easily, as you can see. On both sides of the grill area, just inside from the headlamps, you're going to see where there's just a little clip. There's a bolt that holds it down, and just a little clip that kind of holds it in place.
Okay, to show you just how simple it really is to get this off, just a lot of clips. I took the bolt out from here, and I put the bolt right down there. But after I undo that, went around to the other side, undid this bolt, same thing, and the rest of these are just clips. You can see there's a clip there, and they go in these holes. And then over here, the same thing. So basically just pulls away. Now underneath there are a couple more screws. Let's see if you can see right about there. Here we roar. So I got the screw out of here. Arr! And now I just have to remove some of the wires going to the lights and shove that out of the way. I just used a little screwdriver. Come down in here. Hopefully that light's not too bright for you to see what's going on. And just kind of pop that one open. Pop that one open. There we go. Okay, so you can see how that happens. So see how easy that was? Comes right off. And I just got a few little pieces right here to remove. To be able to gain access to these bolts right here, which will lift off. That's a little rubber mount that holds all of this in place. And then I'll be able to pull the radiator and condenser on out of here. And over on this side, you can probably see that tube in right there. Down there at the bottom, you can see where there's some things in the way. I believe there's the tube connector at the bottom, but you see right below it, there's that hard metal piece there. So it's going to be a lot easier to work with that, get that tube in and out of there, if it's not sitting on top of that. That's why I decided to take this whole thing out. Plus, once I got this out of the way, you'll be able to see the front of the engine, and you'll be able to see the compressor a whole lot easier.
I just needed to drain the radiator. So I'll be disconnecting the hoses from the radiator. I'm getting ready to pull this out. These are a 10 millimeter.
Normally I'd be using my air guns, my impact wrenches and drivers, but I want to be able to show that this can be done with basic tools. So that just comes off like that. You can start to see where that's coming loose.
You see I've got the hose down here, and I've got this attachments here. So I'll be removing these two nuts, pull that loose, and then that lower hose, I'm going to take that clamp there.
So that'll be
Sometimes these hoses get to where they're stuck on pretty good, and the nipple that it's on is plastic, so you got to be careful you don't want to break that plastic. Otherwise you'll be buying your customer a new radiator.
in this case it appears I'm getting lucky.
As you pull the lines for the Freon out of the side of the condenser, once you pull them free, they're open to atmosphere. The atmosphere has humidity in it. We want to try to keep the humidity out of the system, so
try to find a rubber plug or a cap, or if nothing else, some kind of tape that you can put over the ends just to reduce the amount of moisture from the air that can get into the system. As you tilt the radiator and condenser assembly forward, you'll notice that there's a couple of hoses in the back that go across the bottom and then up to the left to the overflow bottle. So you want to make sure to remove the clamps. This has zip ties on it. Just simply clip them and they'll come loose. Now you get a clear shot of where the AC compressor is sitting right there, easy to get to. So once you have the condenser assembly out, you can get to that tube more easily. Remember, the bottom of that tube was up against some metal parts, making it difficult to do what I'm doing right here. So pull out the plug, take a good look at it. It's just a hex key that pulls that out of there. And then sometimes you'll need a little section of wire of some kind, or if you're lucky, maybe sometimes just some needle nose pliers. But you want to grab and pull out the filter. You can see that that's not real bad. This one's not in too bad a shape. Sometimes they're completely black. Sometimes they have glitter on them. And then the nice white one that's going back inside. And then just simply put it back together with the new tube, and there's the filter. For some reason, my camera decided to stop recording the audio, so I'm having to do a voiceover. Hopefully that works for you. As you notice there, I was taking some pictures. Always a good idea to take a few pictures as you're taking things apart when it's as complicated as this. Later on, you can refer back to those images to see what went where. What I'm working on right now is taking loose the belt adjuster to be able to remove the belt from the pulley. And this is one of the more difficult things to do, actually, but it's not so bad. Just you want to make sure that you have a map showing how the belt is fed. It's a serpentine type belt. You want to make sure that it's fed properly around all the different pulleys. It's like a road map, so to speak. So here I'm taking off one of the hose pieces to help get it out of the way. Off to the side of the alternator, there is an adjustment screw and a bolt. Sometimes you can just take that assembly apart to allow the alternator to move inward, thus loosening the belt enough so that you can pull the belt off the pulley for the air conditioning pulley. And finally pulling all the bolts out so I can remove the compressor. Just getting ready to pull it on out of there, and then I'll match it up to the other one. This is a typical expansion valve. Most cars will have an expansion valve or an orifice within the tube itself.
I've only got 3 bolts. I got this bolt here that holds on these tubes, the manifold tube, and then these 2 right here. Let me double check and see what sizes those are. I want to take this bolt loose first before these, because once I turn these loose, this thing's going to be wobbly, not as steady, not as stable. And as I'm trying to move this, it might want to move back and forth. So while it's locked in securely, it's easier to get this bolt loosened up, and then these 2 afterwards. Magnets really come in handy for just such things. 10. And just a touch of oil to each one of those. Again, they probably have enough oil on them, but I just want to be on the safe side. I want to make sure I don't pinch one. When you're putting these back in, you're putting the bolts in to get it lined up. You want to get a little wiggle here, there, a little twist and push. You want to try to make sure that all those O-rings are well seated in before you start cranking down those bolts. And now I'm actually ready to start putting it all back together in the front. Okay, so I got the compressor back in, I got the expansion valve installed back there, and now I'm going to put the belt on before I start putting everything back in place. Otherwise it'll be a lot harder to do. So I'm going to go ahead and put the belt on, the serpentine belt here. So now all I got to do is I got to bring it up, put this bolt back in place where it belongs. And it goes into that hole right there, so I have to lift the alternator up to a point.
where I can get into that hole. Now, how tight should this be? Kind of like a guitar string. You don't want it to be loose to where it's spinning because it'll cause friction and wear and tear. And the rubber will start transferring off the belt onto the pulleys and causing a lump, which is a high spot that causes vibrations. So you don't want it to slip, but you want it to be so tight that it's plucking. That sounds like about a G flat. Not there. Okay. I think we're good. As you tip it, which is all right. So I'm going to carefully put this in here. Make sure that I put into those holes. Now I'm going to reconnect a few things here. Remember, I had this wire here that I had to disconnect. Put them together is easier. Just push them together till they click. Got a hose right here that's got to go on here. This hose is already on here. It's going to go in there. And I got to put the clamps on. So I'm going to go ahead and put it back in. Put these brackets back on. Put the hose back in. And you get to watch. How's that sound? I guess I can go ahead and put this little horn back on. I want this little kid to have a masculine sounding horn. You know. So I better put that back in there too. I think what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and reconnect these because that way the whole system will be all connected and sealed up. And then I can hook up my vacuum pump. I have to evacuate it for about a half hour. While it's doing its thing, I can start hooking up the hoses and such like that. So. Okay, I've got my vacuum pump hooked up. Now if you're doing a job like this where you're going to replace any components in the AC system, any components at all where the system's open, you have to let all the freon out and you need to recharge it. You need to do an evacuation first to make sure you get all the possible humidity out of the system before you put the freon back in and start working on it. I'm going to let that go, like I say, for about a half hour. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's a good time to do it. Close it off. Turn that off. Well, that looks much better, doesn't it? I'm going to let it continue on. I'm going to make sure everything's nice and tight. Okay, gang, here's the important part. I don't know if you can see it that far away, but it's still held. Looks like it's just a hair above 20, and it's been that way for like 20 minutes now. So evacuated for a half hour, closed off the system. It's holding the vacuum, which means no leaks. Yay! Now, here's where it's critical. The atmosphere, the air around us has moisture in it, humidity. Sometimes high, sometimes low, you just don't know. Now, some mechanics are going to say, they're in a hurry, they don't want to mess with it, and they figure it's not going to be a big issue. But I don't want to hook it up to here and then pump this much air into the system after I just got done evacuating it. So here's what I do. Notice I got the gloves on. Got these on here. I want to make sure in case something happens here where it starts to spit stuff out, and it can happen easily. Make sure it's good and tight. I'll set that there. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open this little valve in the middle up, let it hiss a little bit until I think that all the air has been pushed out and it's freon, and then I close that off. So this can is open now. If you turn it upside down, it'll be pure liquid going in. That can be really hard on the compressor, so you don't want to do that. You want to take your time with this, have it upright so that it's a vapor or a gas that's coming through the system. Let's see if you can watch these gauges as I open them up. This can's about empty, so I'm going to get on my gloves and goggles and I'm going to switch cans.
start bringing it up. So far it's looking good. We're going to tone this down. I don't want it to take all that much at one time. Again, I don't want to damage the compressor. So.
Okay, well, we're pretty much done. For today's temperature that's outside this time of day, this is sitting at 35 on the low side. Roughly about 230 on the high side in there. That'll go up a little bit as the idle goes up. So when you're driving, speed goes up. This will go a little higher, this will go a little bit lower. Right now we're in a good range. My hands get cold coming out the vent. Thanks for watching. I know I had some audio-visual troubles with my camera, a new camera, and I'm getting used to it, so hopefully it made sense to you. A little bit about myself. I was retired several years ago as a master technician for both medium and heavy trucks, as well as for automotive. Finally retired. So now I just do little car repairs here and there for friends and family, and I like to videotape them so I can give you some ideas of how it's done, as far as replacing spark plugs, taking care of your brakes, how to rotate your tires, a lot of money-saving tips. So I plan to put together a lot of shorter videos to address some of those kinds of things. So please subscribe, hit the little bell that lets you know when I've created a new one so you can check and see if it's something that you might be interested in. So anyway, here's a quick warning about the Freon, followed by some tips on how the air conditioning system works. It makes me mad when I hear about somebody that got ripped off someplace. So I'll be giving you some tips on how to do that. Just let me know that you're interested in some of these and I'll keep them going. And again, thanks for watching Doc's Projects, and hope you're having a great day and a wonderful 4th of July coming up. Happy birthday, America.
Okay, here's a basic diagram of the air conditioning component systems. You'll notice we start with the compressor on the top center. The compressor pushes the Freon through to the right side, which is the high pressure side now. And as the high pressure comes up against what we call the expansion valve or the orifice tube in the circle at the bottom left, now it goes through into the low pressure side. The top left, you can see where there's a safety switch for low pressure. If the Freon runs empty, it doesn't want the compressor to burn itself up, so that switch will turn off the compressor until such time as you have Freon pressure again. And then it makes its way back to the compressor and starts the cycle all over again. Okay, now let's take a look at some of the components up close. This is a compressor that we've been talking about. And then we've also got the evaporator coil. Notice that it's got a lot of tubes running back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, so that we have plenty of time for the vaporization of the Freon. And then here's what an evaporator cord looks like when it's all plugged up. This comes from like having a lot of dogs or cats and hair and lint and other kinds of funnies that happen to come along in your car. We've seen all kinds of things that plug up those evaporator cords, but we'll show you later how we can clean that up. Here's a typical condenser. And as with the evaporator, the condenser can also get plugged up with debris such as bugs, flies, different kinds of things as your car's driving down the road. And here's what a typical low pressure safety valve looks like. Now, in the event that you might feel that your Freon is low, causing your safety switch not to let the compressor come on, there is some ways that you can try to check this out. You can try to put a can of Freon in, thinking if the system is low enough to accept it. So you can try one of these, and you would probably want to ask your guy at the auto parts store how to work those. And once you put a can of Freon in, then you might find that the compressor suddenly engages. And if that's the case, then you know what you've got. You've got a system that was low. Next step then is to figure out if you've got a leak or if it's just normal leakage from the factory, which does happen after, 8, 9, 10 years, depends. So being that low on Freon doesn't necessarily mean you have a leak, but you should have it checked for a leak because you don't want Freon to be escaping into the atmosphere. To find out when your system is working well with the proper amount of Freon in it, you want to take a look at the gauges. This is showing typical gauge pressures at normal ambient temperature. And then you want to check a chart, see what the ambient temperature is outside, and then look over to the right column and see what you're looking for your low pressure side on your gauge, and then adjust accordingly.